Hey everyone, welcome to the Focus on Focusing podcast. I'm so excited to introduce myself and my co-hosts. My name is Cynthia Perez Martinez, and this podcast is mainly for my honors college program project thing. Um, and Also, it is a chance for us to collect data for our cognitive psychology class. So we'll talk more about it later, but for now, if you could stick to the very end of the episode and maybe take the survey right after, we would very much appreciate that. But yeah, I guess I'll start by introducing myself real quick. I'm a psychology major here at Kennesaw State University, and I want to go into the child psychology field. Um, and then I'll let my co-hosts introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Olivia Lee. I'm also a junior, about to be senior, here at Kennesaw State. So I'm like a semester ahead. Sorry if that doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I'm just here to chit chat, talk more about ADHD, just kind of, I don't know, get it out there and people become more informed with it.
Hi, my name is Tanya Covarrubias, and I am the other co-host. I am a senior here at KSU. I'm a psychology major, and I want to go into the ABA field of psychology and hopefully become a BCBA in the next 2 years. I'm excited to talk more about ADHD on this podcast to get a sense of relief for myself and for others listening.
Yeah, so that being said, how do each of us relate to ADHD? So do you all kind of want to start with that?
Oh yeah. So I kind of suspect a little ADHD in myself just by signs. Um, Even just starting college, it was just recently I felt like it's gotten worse, and I would like to learn more about it so I can understand more of the concept of ADHD. So this podcast will be a really good way to understand. And I do know some people that do have ADHD, and I can relate to them in some way.
Yeah, I think I'll kind of relate to that. I also kind of suspect it. Well, for me, I think I really need to go get tested and take me as an example of like if you really suspect it, then you should probably go. I have therapy sessions and throughout many of our sessions we kind of saw or me and my therapist we kind of saw this like common pattern between like a lot of the habits that I had and it finally got to the point where one day she was like, okay, maybe it's time for you to take an ADHD screener. And so now I'm at like the screener stage, so I kind of like not passed it. I don't want to make it seem like it's a test or something, but like I guess she kind of thought that there's like she suspects basically that I have ADHD and that I should she can't formally diagnose me. Like I had to go to a psychologist for that. So yeah, I'm kind of in that weird like zone.
So for me, when I was younger, in about fourth, fifth grade, I was actually diagnosed with ADD, which I know is now they've kind of become one and the same. Um, as of now, though, I have not been retested since. So I don't know if it's still as prevalent in my life today. Like, I'm not sure if I would necessarily say that I have ADHD. I don't really see a lot of the symptoms in myself, but I do have friends and acquaintances and like coworkers around me who do struggle with ADHD. So I feel I can relate just by seeing like some of their struggles and kind of what they have talked about with me.
And that's kind of what this podcast will be about, is just kind of how we navigate with ADHD or suspected ADHD in college and how, you know, we study, what's our social life like, how we practice self-management, and then also just kind of releasing some of that stigma and making it more, just making people more aware of it. It's very common, and I think I know a lot of people who might suspect that they have ADHD or they really just do have ADHD because it really is common, and I think it's important for not just um neurological or cognitive disabilities to have more light shined on them, but also just mental health in general. And yeah, I guess that's kind of what we'll just kind of the scope of what this podcast is about. So now we have a little segment that we're gonna do every episode, our icebreaker question at the beginning of every episode. And do either of y'all wanna say what our
Yeah, I can read it.
say
I'm
what our
excited about this
question of
one.
the day is?
So our question for this segment is, if ADHD was a person, how would you describe your relationship with them? And we also want to encourage our listeners to think about this for themselves too.
Okay, I
Yes.
think I'll answer this one first.
Okay, I
Um,
think I'll answer
if
this one
ADHD
first.
was a person,
I would
if
describe my
ADHD
relationship with
was a
them
person,
I would
like kind of
describe
like
my
a roller
relationship with them
coaster every day,
like kind of
cause
like a roller coaster.
one day I
every
think I'm
day,
fine, I'm
'cause
calm. The
one
next
day I
day I'm
think
just
I'm
all over the
fine, I'm
place,
calm. The
just
next day
crying
I'm
or
just
all over the
having
place,
some form of
just
anxiety,
crying or having
and it
some
really
form
just
of
depends on the
anxiety.
day for
Um,
me.
and
So
it really
I
just
think we
depends on
go
the
through a lot
day
of
for me.
challenges
So
together.
I think we
Mhm.
go through a lot of challenges
Yeah.
together.
I think for mine, I would
Yeah.
have to relate it to I think for mine, I would have to relate it to like a coworker. We know of each other, but like we're not super close. We know of each other, but like we're not super close. Like maybe we interact every once in a while, but
Yeah.
we're not really
I
in each
guess
other's
for
lives.
me,
Yeah,
I don't know if you'll have like a friend where I don't know if you you'll can have hang out like with them a for a little friend bit, but where then after a you minute you're can like, hang okay, I out kind with of them need a for a break little from bit, or but then like they after can a just be a minute you're little like, too okay, much sometimes. I feel like
Mhm.
they can
how
just be a
I
little too
feel
much
with
sometimes.
ADHD.
I
Like
feel like that's how okay, I I like you feel for a with little bit for ADHD. some Like, things, but okay, like I like you for a after little a minute bit I for kind some of things, want you but to be like gone.
Yeah,
After a minute I
yeah.
kind of want you to be gone. All right, so now we kind of can dive into what ADHD really is. I feel like there's a big, like, common misconception that it's about being hyper, like you can't stay in your seat for a long time, or like, um, I feel like people really just look at how kids in ADHD are, like they kind of attribute many of like the ADHD symptoms in kids to everyone. Like you don't really see adults with ADHD like just getting up and like out of their chair and like jumping around or just like being like loud or like I don't know. I feel like you don't really see that with a lot of adults. It looks very different for kids and adults. Yeah, I don't know. What about y'all?
Yeah, I think people don't really get into kind of more of the like the functioning part of it, like multitasking or kind of like the organizational side. Like I feel like people, like you said, they just focus on kind of that like physical part of it, like that hyperness, but nobody really thinks about how it affects you like cognitively. And nobody really talks about that either, and I think that's also a big misconception.
Yeah, I do agree with both of you guys. And it's also kind of hard for people to understand as you get older. Because, most people are like, well, if you weren't diagnosed as a child, then
Yeah.
it's a lot harder for them to understand what you're going through on a day-to-day basis.
Because I feel like it's seen as like almost infantile, like, and almost like an excuse. Like I feel like people think some people use ADHD as an excuse for like some sort of like behavior. Like I know time blindness is a really big thing for me. Like sometimes I can't like not manage time, but I feel like I have no like concept of time sometimes. Like sometimes like my friend will be like, "Okay, like I'll pick you up at 3," and I'll be like, "Oh, okay." Like I can get ready at 2 and I'll have enough time. But no. And
Mhm.
the thing is, like, I never learn. Like, I never learn my lesson. Like, I know 1 hour won't give me enough time to get ready, but in my head, I'm like, if I really hurry, it might. But like 1 hour of time seems like 10 years to me. So
Oh
then
yeah.
that's why, like, I guess when it comes to things like that, like having a deadline for something, like I feel like I'll have 10 years to complete it, even though I'll really only have an hour. Like, I don't know, that's a big thing for me. And like, I feel like people just see that as either like being lazy or just being immature, not being able or not knowing how I like man how to manage time. Like, but no, it's just really it really is deeper than that.
Mhm. I agree. Um, there is a part in college with ADHD, and I think it is really hard to manage ADHD in college. What do
Yeah.
you guys think about that?
Yeah, I would say from kind of what I've heard of like friends around me that it sounds like it is just because college is so like there's so like you have such a big responsibility with it, like it asks so much of you, and so like you're having to keep up with assignments and tests and quizzes and group projects and like the time thing, kind of how you were saying, like that can be really hard, I'm imagining, to deal with if you know. Right, yeah, yeah.
And then I guess on top of all those tests and quizzes and assignments, we also kind of have to have a social life. And like I feel like there's this big I guess like it's very encouraged for you to join clubs and have like some extracurriculars like um especially in college. Well, I guess like in high school too, but like in college, I guess it's more of like for you to kind of be more social.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and then yeah, like you meet people and then like yeah, you have a bigger social life. Like you're just expected to like almost do all of these things. Yeah, and then that's also hard to manage because then you're like, okay, well, when do I have time to actually do my work, or when do I have time to actually hang out with friends? Yeah,
Yeah.
because it can also become isolating. So making friends is just very like important, I feel like.
I agree with that. Especially because, while you're in college, you're basically an adult after 18. So
Yeah.
you have to start making real world decisions and meeting people that will benefit you in your future life.
Yeah.
So making those social appearances, places, meeting new contacts, that's very helpful, but it's really hard when you have so much going on in your mind.
Yeah.
It's a really like cool and fun like time in our lives that we're in, but it is very like it can easily become very overwhelming and like hard to manage because so much in a good way is being asked of you, like with like college and then social lives and then even like prepping for your future and like becoming like what some would say a real adult, like but having a full-time job and paying bills and all that. And so it just can be a lot in this time in our lives.
Yeah, that's another thing, like work. You also have to work. Like
Yeah.
it's all of these things that you have to do, and it's like in 4 years, like you go from like having a set schedule, you have to go to school at this time, you get out at this time, like maybe you like work, but it's just kind of like almost for fun, I guess. Like
Yeah, because it's
yeah.
just like after you get out of like high school, like it's not.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's very different, but I think I really enjoy college much more than I did like
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I would definitely have to agree. I enjoy the freedom of it, but then it can be a lot like to manage. Like you have to just build your own schedule and like keep up with your own responsibilities. Like, but I think it's fun. Like if you really do it, if it's fun things, if the responsibilities are fun, then I think it's a lot of fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then if it does really become hard, like if college does make it harder for you and your ADHD, then there's options. You can you can seek out help and maybe have someone to help you, manage your time, create a schedule with you, something that like, just something to just manage your time better or just help you manage your time better. And there's nothing wrong with having someone help you do that. Sometimes, we can't do it all ourselves. Like maybe you're freshly 18, like, and you're just starting to like have all these responsibilities. Like it's not, it's common for you to not have it all figured out. In fact, I don't really think anyone has it all figured out. So
Okay.
yeah, even like us, like we're like junior seniors in college, and I still feel like I don't have it all figured out. Like I'm still
Same,
learning
definitely,
every day.
Me
definitely,
too.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, but yeah. Um, and I guess, yeah, some common misconceptions. I feel like we kind of covered these, like the laziness, the executive dysfunction. Yeah, don't think of yourself as lazy. Don't think of yourself as like irresponsible, especially when if you do have ADHD, you can finally put a label on it. That's how I felt. I felt like I could finally put a label on it. I didn't feel like as ashamed of like things that I did, maybe like procrastination, like everyone procrastinates. Like that's the thing is everyone procrastinates, especially again when you get to college, like you'll see people like staying up till 5 a.m. doing assignments because it's like due the next day or something. Yeah, it's very common. So, yeah, don't beat yourself up for that and give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
I agree.
What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just like you always just kind of have to give yourself grace because, like we said, you are dealing with so much already, and then you add kind of like this struggle on top of it, and that definitely doesn't make anything easier. So I think just like figuring out what works best for you and like how to kind of cope with it in a really healthy way. And just kind of like just giving yourself some time and some grace and like just I think it can also be really neat to like learn more about yourself too if you just like kind of take the time to really figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And it's really hard figuring it out.
Yeah.
Um, I've changed, my mind on what side of psychology I want to go to. I decided forensic in the beginning of college, but now I'm onto child. So it's just hard, because you have so many interests, they're all in your mind. You're thinking, oh, what comes next? And I feel like sometimes you do have that lack of motivation,
Yeah.
which can be called laziness to some people, but it's just a form of, figuring it out. Not everybody understands that, but I
Right.
know deep inside you can understand it yourself, and that's all
Yeah.
that matters.
Yeah, and I think you just have to like don't worry about kind of what other people think of it. Like it's your own journey and all that really matters is as long as you're okay with like you're happy with yourself at the end of the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, another segment for each episode, I will kind of introduce some studies from empirical artic or empirical journals and just articles that I find with facts that have to do with the topic of each episode. And since we're kind of talking about and introducing ADHD in college, I found a study that was conducted by researchers where they recruited a sample of 200 adults and they found that 14% of them had undiagnosed ADHD. And of that 14%, 61% were women, and then the other 39% were men. And Tanya, I think you had mentioned this the other day where ADHD is actually found to be more prevalent in women than in men.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a previous class, I learned about that, and I found that really intriguing. That's what got me thinking, you know, my s- um my wonders on ADHD.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's really not cool, but just interesting and makes it, again, have more like grace on yourself, I guess. And like it is pretty common, even if it was just 14% of those 200 adults. Like I feel like that's a pretty good chunk. So, yeah, so just look out for any symptoms that you think you may have. But again, not everyone is the same. So you could have some ADHD symptoms, but that doesn't mean that you automatically have ADHD.
Right, and it's kind of on like a big spectrum, you know, like some people may deal with it a lot less than others do, and it's kind of just like figuring out um what like relates to you and I mean, you know yourself, right? So like just figuring out kind of how you relate to this and if none of these symptoms apply to you or all of them do, or like whatever that mix in the middle is.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back. So we're going to start getting into the side of our program, really talking about how to cope with these struggles, like with ADHD on a daily basis.
So, we're gonna go around and share a quote unquote real moment of ADHD. So, I don't know, do y'all have like any real moments, like any missed deadlines or zoning out?
I have one. I like to doom scroll on my social media. And there's been times where I lay down and it's like 9 o'clock at night. So I'll like do, okay, like 5 minutes of TikTok. And then I just end up being on TikTok for almost 2 hours. And by then I just get tired and I don't do my schoolwork anymore. So that's one of my moments.
Oh, I'm so bad at doing
Me
that.
too.
I'm so bad at doing that. I'll like get in bed and be like, okay, good. Like it's 10 o'clock, I'll go to bed early, and then next thing I know, it's like 10:45. And I'm like, okay, well that was great.
Do y'all get that like we were just talking about anxiety before we started this. Do y'all get like that anxious feeling where like you know you have to do something, but like your brain doesn't stop. Like it doesn't want to stop.
I think it like wants you to procrastinate as much as possible. So
Yeah. What about you, Olivia?
Yeah, I would agree. I get that. I'll be laying there and I'm like, I know I should go to bed, but it's like I have this feeling like I can't. Like I have to keep like scrolling or like I need to get up and go do something else, but I'm like sucked into it.
Yeah, I guess for me it's that and then also zoning out in lectures. I zone out really bad in lectures. Like I don't know what it is. I can't, like, I'll start listening to the professor and then they'll maybe say something that reminds me of something else, or like somehow, like, I end up just realizing that I haven't been paying attention for like the last 10 minutes or something. Like, I don't know. It's just like a really bad habit, but thankfully they put everything out on, um, our like website that we use for school, like D2L. Um, but then you have some professors, like our clinical counseling professor, who like expects us to listen to every single word he says during lecture. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I've been trying to like I guess like I've been learning all my like professors like teaching styles and like that's been helping me a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things for me in class is like, because each professor is so different. So, like, some of them I can zone out and it's fine. Like, I can go back and reread the lecture or whatever. But then, like, what you were saying, like, some of them, like, you can't. And that's like what's really hard for me. Because I'm like, okay, I really have to focus. But I swear the times that, like, I need to focus is when I can't. Like, that's when I have the hardest time, like, trying to really listen and, like, zone in on what they're saying instead of, like, getting on TikTok or, like, working on other work in class or something.
Right, right. Yeah.
yeah, and honestly, all those are daily struggles for a lot of people. But like I think some strategies that help me on a day-to-day is my Notion app or
Yes,
website.
I love Notion.
I write yes. I love being able to like use it every day, see what I have due. And I also like having people like kind of hold me accountable. So like Olivia and Cynthia, they help me a lot because they're like, oh, we have this due. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. So it's always nice to have that person like have your back when
Yeah, I
you
highly
have a lot
recommend
going
taking
on.
classes with your friends.
Yeah.
Like it helps me so much. I can tell a difference right now. The three of us have, well, the three of us have two classes together, and then me and Cynthia have a class together. And I have one class that I just have by myself, and I can tell a big difference between that one and then the others that we have together, like how well I do in it, how I remember to like keep up with assignments, and honestly, how good I do with those assignments. I feel like I do better with like the ones that we have together than I do on the ones that like I don't put as much effort into the one I have by myself. I
Yeah.
don't put as much effort into the one I have by myself.
Right, right, right. No, I agree. How do y'all feel about caffeine. We love caffeine, by the way. We love going to coffee shops,
Yes.
energy drinks,
Mm-hmm.
but I've noticed that like sometimes they don't do anything. Like sometimes they'll either give me the worst anxiety ever or like they'll actually like help me focus, but then I'm like really jittery or like
Yep.
other days they won't do anything. Like I could drink Red Bulls don't do anything to me anymore. I think the only like caffeine like things are either like really strong coffees or Celsius. Those are like the only two that have like actually done like yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same because I drink so much caffeine that I think my body's so adjusted to it, and I like have that feeling of like needing it. Um, like the only like energy drink that's really gotten me pretty bad was Alani. I had to stop drinking it for a while because it made me really anxious
Mhm.
and all over the place. So caffeine's not always the best for you, and you can become really dependent on it, but
Yeah.
it's just really how you space it out.
Yeah, I think I agree with like the different days too, or like I'm bad at like if I'm already like nervous about something, I'll like drink an energy drink and then of course it's even worse. Like I don't know what I expected, but that never helps either. But that's like a bad habit that I have of like, oh, I have a lot going on today and I'm nervous about it, but I need an energy drink, so I'll have energy throughout the day for all of this, but then the two just clash and
Yeah.
I get more nervous.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Do y'all know of any like ADHD apps?
Good
yeah,
question.
there's this one app. Oh, shoot, I forgot what it's called. Well, Notion's a big one. I love Notion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's this other app. Shoot, it's like I remember my therapist telling me about it,
Mm-hmm.
and I used it for a little, but of course, ADHD, I like stopped using it and like I wouldn't um but I can try to find that while y'all like
I don't know any apps, but I know Notion's like a digital planner, but even just having like physical copy, like buy yourself a cute aesthetic little planner, write down all your thoughts or write down, oh, let me not forget this day I have this due. Um, Physical planners really help you because you can physically write it out by hand and you tend to remember it more.
see, I feel like physical planners don't work for me. Like I'll I have one, but I haven't written on it since like May. Yeah. Yeah, like I feel like digital planners definitely help me a lot more because I don't know. I just feel like they like you can like organize them better, like they look neater, like
Hmm.
I don't know. And then I could just like really quickly like pull it up, like
Yeah, it's more
and
convenient.
I can take it with me anywhere. It's like but the app that remember it's called Fabulous. It's like a habit tracker. And it's like not just for like school, like you can use it for like you can do to-do lists, morning routines, like track how much water you're drinking.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is not necessarily an AD like an app for ADHD, but there's also the Pulse app, which I know that we can all use. That's a really good way of like keeping up with your
Hmm.
like schoolwork and like being on time and like it sends you reminders of like when everything's due. Like that has helped me so much through like college and everything. And then I also just learned about a new one called A Plus Grades. And I haven't actually tested out my I saw it on like a friend who was using it. And I believe it's like it takes your grades that you've been making and it'll tell you like, okay, so on this test you need to make this to keep this grade that you want in the class overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't tested it out yet because I kind of honestly forgot about it, but it seems like a really neat way, you know, like not that this necessarily pertains to ADHD specifically, but just for like using in college.
I kind of want to try that out.
Me too.
Okay, so now we can just dive into the bright side of everything. I know ADHD sounds like a lot of work, but there are some good things too. it's not this like big like dark cloud hanging over you all the time. There are some good things that can come out of it. Um, but yeah, I guess just having more like grace for yourself. Um, what neurotypical peers handle like differently, you might handle it some other way, and like that's fine. That's just the way your brain is wired. Um, and you also have different like superpowers with ADHD. People tend to be more creative. They tend to hyper focus on whenever you do end up focusing on something, you I know this like kind of happens with me when I start focusing on something, like I won't stop. And um like that's just really helpful at times too. And then
Mhm.
also like I get like random bursts of energy, and like I feel like my mood is like lifted, and like I can like lift other people's moods as well. And like, um, yeah, I mean, what else? What do y'all think?
Yeah, I think just like finding ways that you can kind of channel that into those positive things that you were saying, like using uh kind of these air quotes superpowers that you have, but like channel that into your schoolwork and find like a way to do that that's like works for you and like is healthy for you. Like, the hyper focus, like use that to really focus in on like one project and like really knock that out of the park or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I think a lot of people with ADHD beat themselves up. But honestly, most of the time, people with ADHD are really superheroes because they handle a lot on their plate and their mind's always running, but they get everything done eventually. So many people with ADHD are successful. So I think just working through the difficulties, at the end of the day, you'll see a big difference and you'll shine no matter what.
Mhm. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, well, I honestly didn't really know that this was like a neurodivergent, like this was considered like a I guess like under neurodivergent, um, I've just been like recently like learning that I'm taking a cyber psychology class with Tanya, and our professor was telling us how like people with ADHD are like considered neurodivergent. So yeah, I don't know. That's just like a fun like thing that I didn't know. Um, but
For our next few episodes, I know I'm really excited to dive into just learning more about ADHD, hearing different people kind of discuss how they deal with it, strategies for coping with it. And I'm really just excited to learn more in our next several episodes that we have.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for listening to our podcast today. I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope you guys learned some new things while listening.
So next week we're going to have a special guest who is going to speak about his experience with ADHD meds. But there is a little twist to it, so stay tuned for that. Um, and yeah, we're super excited to um, keep doing these episodes. And please don't forget to take our survey, that will help us a lot. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.